Welcome, all you +2 comedy modifiers, back to the stream. Welcome back to Solving the Witness, a laid-back, annotated Let's Play where we try to uncover the deeper, underlying factors that create Jonathan Blows the Witness. I'm back from vacation. I took a vacation and refreshed myself. So we actually have two episodes of Solving the Witness we need to go back and read the comments for. This is going to be a long episode. I got a lot to say about this one, and we got some fantastic comments. So we're going to start by going through all the comments to those videos, then we'll get to the Let's Play. So let's get started. We're going to start with a new commenter. Mockman100K says, finally caught up with the whole series. Excited to see where the rest of it goes. How long ago were the streams, by the way? I noticed catching up, there was quite a few jumps in the video releases. And yes, there's many times where I stepped away from Solving the Witness because these take time to make when it's easier to just throw up a Let's Play. So, you asked this at a very interesting time. In the video you're about to watch, I make a reference that the episode Solving the Witness What was uploaded to YouTube today. So the day that this was recorded, I had uploaded that video. And that video was uploaded in November of 2021. And what's funny is I actually went back and I watched that video. And in that video I say, hey, I'm really ahead on my streams of where I'm uploading. So I have a lot to say about this, but it's going to take me like 3 months to get there. No, it took me 5 years to get there. Thanks for staying with me. In any case, he goes on to say, as far as the directional exit, I believe that most of the Tetris puzzles have the diagonal exit. Perhaps having that as the exit makes it clear where the shapes are. And that is, I believe, 100% accurate. Great work, Mockman. 100%, 100K%. Great work. When we're analyzing these things, it's really important that I remember that the first answer should always be mechanics. Is there a mechanical reason why something exists the way it does? And this makes perfect sense. By having the exit be diagonal, it doesn't play a part in the rest of the grid where you're trying to make box shapes. So by having the exit go out, it's more clear what the solutions are and should be because you don't have that little extra line that could throw you off. I think that's 100% why it's set up that way. And I think I made a mountain out of a molehill and you very easily solved that question. Great job, Mockman. Except no. Hi, Editor Noah here. I don't even have my lights on. I'm just trying to get this video out. But while I was editing Editor Noah, I decided, hey, I got to throw up an image of one of these Tetris puzzles with the diagonal exit so people know what we're talking about. And in doing that, you know what I found? Examples of Tetris puzzles that don't have a diagonal exit. You know what else I found? Non-Tetris puzzles with a diagonal exit. So the diagonal exit is not tied to the fact that there are Tetris pieces. It was a great theory, and Mockman, I know we just became friends and I just said a bunch of nice things about you, but I don't think that's the answer. So I again ask, why is there a diagonal exit? Also have this comment, I'm so happy you're continuing with the series, about the record player observation. I think you're pretty right in pointing out the star symbol at the center. I've never read anyone else point that out. We'll get back to that in a second. The star on the record player also doesn't reflect anywhere. If I remember correctly, is there maybe a star somewhere in the end and the little room that opens up when you solve the challenge? There's not a record in there, I'm pretty sure. I have heard tale that there is a record player elsewhere. We'll get into that later. But this is an interesting idea in that there are a bunch of environmental puzzles that, in theory, could incorporate both stars. So maybe there could be something about doing an environmental puzzle while the radio or while the record player is playing. I mean, there's not really a good reason why you can do environmental puzzles more than once, other than, mechanically being like, oh, I already got this one. But I definitely think that there's something to that, unless we go with what I believe Pedro says. Pedro Paulo says the design of the sun on the record challenge and the sun in the logic symbol of the game are different. Geometrically speaking, they are not the same shape at all. This might be the same family of concave shapes, that might be called stars in math, but it is not the same symbol. That is very true. The stars in the actual puzzles do not match the star that is on the record player. It definitely invokes that symbol, but they are geometrically different. I could make the argument that it has to have that many points to make it like the big sun looking thing, and that on the puzzles they had to simplify it because there's not as many pixels in there. That would be my argument for this being the star symbol or the sun symbol still, but geometrically they are different, so we might just have to write this whole theory off. It's still a weird choice to make something that looks so much like a puzzle mechanic the symbol on top of this record. Mechanically speaking, it does invoke the lotus symbol that we see throughout the game, and also a star is something that visually can be seen spinning very easily. So that could be the mechanics way that we write this one out. I have a lot to record and there's a trash truck outside. I hope that doesn't bother you, because I'm going to continue to do my best here and keep recording. Because we have another new commenter. This comes from J-Dude, or J-Dodd. He says, "Hi Noah, new subscriber here. Welcome to the team. This series was shouted out on Reddit a little while back. I believe that was by me. And I came to check it out. Thought awesome. It's 5 years old. I'll binge it all the way to the end, so imagine my surprise. Watching this series inspired me to play the game again. I have played it twice, but I think this time I was going to work my way through things I had never solved before, like the shipwreck challenge and the challenge. I skipped your episode on the shipwreck, which is funny because we're going to get back to that. No, we're not going to get back to the shipwreck. We're just going to get to an audio file that references a shipwreck. Because I wanted to do it myself. I did. Great work. And I just finished the challenge a couple days ago. It took me about 20 or 30 attempts. Let's see if I can do better than that. Hope you guys like watching the challenge. Watching this episode, your despair upon discovering the column puzzles in the end exactly mirrored my own. Interesting use of the word mirror because there's reflecting water there. What a gut punch. But eventually I prevailed. Throughout the series, I've been enjoying watching your approach of the psychological and philosophical meanings behind the game, and I really been paying attention to the audio files, the windmill videos, which we'll get back to eventually, and the different endings. I'm looking forward to a wrap-up video where you tie everything together. Yeah. Enjoy that in 2034. To answer a question you pose in this video, this is back to spinning out. I don't think the column puzzles have any direct relationship to water. They are enough examples of column puzzles that are not surrounded by water. True, that was me half-baking a theory. To address another, as far as how to describe how the player can adapt to solving the challenge, I think the metaphors you bring up are valid in some way or another, but let me add one, a dated one. It's like driving stick shift. I think that's another great way to explain it. Just driving in general. Like, you do a lot of things just without thinking. Now I have some rapid fire questions of my own. All right, bring it on, J-Dodd. 1. Did you ever discover the fact that the right trigger on the controller makes the line move faster as you draw on both panels and environmental puzzles? Technically, yes, because I'm learning it now. This is the first time I found that information out. Thanks. 2, why are your viewers called modifiers? Because my original comedy group that I used to tour conventions with is called Plus 2 Comedy, which is a D&D joke. So I started calling everyone else my Plus 2 Comedy modifiers, fellow modifiers that increase your rolls in D&D. They're originally just called +2 modifiers, but for branding reasons, I started calling everyone +2 comedy modifiers. So that's where I came up with that. Number 3, why are we calling your commenter Draken? This ain't Kim Possible. There ain't a single A in that guy's names. So Dracon, who has been part of the channel for a very long time. I consider you commenting and going along for the ride with me as part of the channel. They've been here a long, long time. You can go back and watch old episodes of Solving the Witness and other things, and you can see Dracon mention things. That being said, 1, dyslexia, mispronouncing things. 2, one of my big comedy tropes that I like to do in stand-up is mispronouncing words. And one of my big ones is Draken, because that's how I always pronounce the word dragon. It's like, oh, a fire-breathing Draken. It's just me kind of being silly, and his name was close enough to dragon that I just started calling him Draken. If that bothers you, you should hear me talk about raccoons or sexual innuendos. But yeah, it's just a comedy quirk that I do, and I often even forget that I'm doing it. It's just me being silly. It happens very recently in, I don't even think it's up yet. There's an episode of Blueprints where I keep saying Chargin, even though it says chagrin. It's me being silly. So I haven't bugged you, because I do it a lot. 4, I'm thinking about starting Blueprints next. Is it a good idea or bad? Playing? Absolutely play Blueprints. It is one of the greatest games I've ever played. Had I known it, that would have been an annotated series. But like a solving series. If you're watching my Let's Play, I think it's one of the better ones I've done. If you're asking me what Let's Play of mine to watch next, Tai Chi is a good one, but I recommend you play that one as well. Also, I think pretty much one of the best Let's Plays on this channel is Lisa the Painful. I did a lot of cool things with Lisa the Painful. It's one of my favorite experiences that I've ever had on the channel. There we go. So moving on to the glitches video. This is the most recent video that came out. Draken says, I love the theory that the real truth of the challenge is elsewhere. My first thought, it is not the case, since the area is not actually about that, I think. The area is about exploring if you need one big revelation or if the multiple speaker revelations are so good. The idea of searching for truth is binding you from seeing is mostly present in other areas. The monastery being the most obvious, I think. Yes, one of the big themes of The Witness is fatalism. The idea of searching for truth blinds you from finding it. So that was kind of the experiment I was going for in running away from the challenge, just to see if maybe the record player did something else elsewhere. There's part of me that wishes that I had explored it a little bit more deeply. We'll get into that in this video. I actually do think the record player isn't an actual record player. I feel like it might just be a thing that transmits audio and made to look like a record player, but it's hard to know for sure what is meant there. I think it's a record player, but that's a valid idea. I mean, it's almost like the whole thing's a simulation and nothing is real. Draken also says that I should also remember why did they put a speaker in that one area. We will revisit that exact spot in this video. I will keep that in mind. I never checked how many speakers would play the music. Is it really all of them? I still think that it might be the Y or the Z axis thing that will come up again in the video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, in the previous video, I started the music and ran away just to see where I could hear the music on other parts of the island. Draken says, I don't think overall the idea of the game is to search for truth is frivolous. I think it provides new ideas. That's not what I mean. When I say, like, don't search for truth, I mean that the idea of learning truth or figuring things out becomes more apparent when you're not searching for it. The same way that you tend to find the person of your dreams and that you end up marrying when you're not looking for a relationship. Because if your goal is to find a relationship, the energy you put out in finding a person doesn't match what is appealing. But if you're not looking and you're working on yourself, you will then make the discovery of, oh, this person is really cool. At least that's what happened to me. I'm very happily married. So yeah, that I don't want to ever say that Searching for Truth is frivolous. It's the idea that if you're focused on finding an answer, it will not appear for you. That's what I'm trying to get at. You'll see that a lot when I play Blueprints. Another new commenter from Needle Queen. Needle Queen says, "Love the series. Thank you so much for putting this effort in." Thank you. That wasn't a question. I like compliments, and I appreciate that new people are still joining us on this insane journey. Maddox back and says that the symbol that is on the display case that has the Holy Grail on top of it is a lotus. In a different part of the game that you haven't seen yet, but real life Noah probably has seen it. He has not. I still have not walked through the door. It is likely the logo of the organization that's very deeply connected with the island. That makes sense. Interesting observation. When you mirror that symbol along its horizontal axis, it becomes a complete sun or flower, of course. It is the symbol of Jonathan Blow's upcoming game, Order of the Sinking Star. I am planning on playing the demo for that soon. I know a few people have reached out to me saying that Jonathan Blow is kind of a hot topic to be touching on right now. I'm going to continue solving the Witness. I don't know if I will play Order of the Sinking Star, but I feel like on a day I don't have time to record all these things and do research, the demo will pop up on the Friday slot on the YouTube channel. So get excited for that. Going back to J Dodd or J Dude or Drag Dude. He says, this episode was a nice change of pace and probably a well-needed detour for Noah's mental health. Indeed it was. You answered the big question, why can I hear the music in the town perfectly? This is the idea that the area where the music is playing is set up on an X and Y axis, not accounting for the Z axis. The record, when you hold a record in your hands and examine it, the groove is very fine packed together so your eyes may not perceive the groove. This is me saying that the groove looks like a complete circle rather than a spiral. That is a great explanation for that. The image on the display cases and the pillows, I think you're right to suggest it is the brand hosting the island. I like it when people agree with me. I'm glad you took the time away from the challenge to reset. Looking forward to your reaction to the audio file. We're getting to that audio file very, very soon. Like right now. Let's get to the Let's Play. All right, let's get that audio clip.
God bade me behold the sea, and I saw the ship sinking and the planks floating. Then the planks too were submerged. And God said to me, those who voyage are not saved. And he said to me, those who, instead of voyaging, cast themselves into the sea, take a risk.
This is the clip that just went live on YouTube. This is from the Treehouse.
Those who voyage and take no risk shall perish. And he said to me, in taking the risk, there is a part of salvation. And the wave came and lifted those beneath it and overran the shore. And he said to me, the surface of the sea is a gleam.
Are they going to say what again?
And the bottom is a darkness impenetrable. And between the two are great fishes, which are to be feared.
I don't understand the fishes still.
Nefari, circa 970.
Heavy sigh. What?
What?
I'm going to the store. Do you want a sandwich or something?
You've been standing there for like an hour.
I didn't want to interrupt.
And I don't like sandwiches. Have you ever seen me with a sandwich? Why would you think I want a sandwich?
This is weird.
Sorry.
No, I need some sleep.
It's okay. We're all working hard.
I just want to read it right. We're going to be hearing this a lot of times. Every little thing matters because it gets so multiplied.
It's good. It's already good.
Thanks. Yeah. But we've kind of picked high goalposts. Every little bit matters. Oh, can you get me a coffee?
Okay. Couple very interesting things to break down there. She claims she has been doing it for hours, which I don't think there are a full hour of clips of her, let alone multiple. Or she said, you've been standing there for an hour. So the man that she is speaking to has been watching her read for an hour. Okay? I don't believe there's an hour of clips of her talking. Like, if you took all of her clips, I do not think it would be an hour. Two, she claims that she wants to get it perfect. So that would imply that she's taking multiple takes. However, this is the same take as the one I found on the dock. So this is either the best take of that line, or she's not doing multiple takes. The relationship between these two characters, because they're characters, these people who are reading, implies a familiarness. I don't know, they might be in a relationship. She says that she gets upset about the idea of eating a sandwich, which, who doesn't like sandwiches? Like, there's so many varieties of sandwich. It's like saying you don't like food. Like, or saying I don't like cookies. It's like there's not a single cookie out there that you enjoy. So that's very interesting. It seems almost unnecessarily spiteful, the way she responds. Like, how dare you offer a sandwich? But she does want coffee, so she's driven to continue. We're going to listen to it one more time, I think. Because I'm trying to also tie the events that happen after the quote with the quote itself about venturing and risk.
God bade me behold the sea, and I saw the
What?
ship sinking and the planks floating. Then the planks too were submerged. And God said to me, those who voyage are not saved. And he said to me, those who, instead of voyaging, cast themselves into the sea, take a risk. And he said to me, those who voyage and take no risk shall perish. And he said to me, in taking the risk, there is a part of salvation. And the wave came and lifted those beneath it and overran the shore. And he said to me, the surface of the sea is a gleam that cannot be reached, and the bottom is a darkness impenetrable. And between the two are great fishes, which are to be feared.
Don't get the great fishes. I don't.
Safari, circa 970. What?
I'm going to the store. Do you want a sandwich or something?
You've been standing there for like an hour.
I didn't want to interrupt.
And I don't like sandwiches. Have you ever seen me with a sandwich? Why would you think I want a sandwich?
Sorry.
No, I need some sleep.
It's okay. We're all working hard.
I just want to read it right. We're going to be hearing this a lot of times. Every little thing matters because it gets so multiplied.
It's good. It's already good.
Thanks. Yeah. But we've kind of picked high goalposts.
What are those
Every
goalposts?
little bit matters. Oh, can you get me a coffee?
Yeah, it's probably hyperbolic. You're probably correct there. So this is about taking risk and ventured. Is he hitting on her? Is this his risk? Is it like, hey, I'm going to the store, but if all he wanted was to ask if she wanted something from the store, he wouldn't be standing there for so long. Probably not an hour, but the information there is this is a small question for the amount of time you had to wait to ask it. So perhaps it's actually not so much that he's taking the risk, it's that he's not taking the risk. He's just standing there waiting. He is not taking the risk. This is interesting. Nefari sounds like Safari. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, he was a real person, Nefari. Nefari is someone I need to do more research on. I couldn't find a lot. I already researched him for the first time I found this quote. So that's interesting. Two fishes. I mean, this is a bad comparison, but like the idea of fish in the sea is usually like something you say when you get rejected. There are plenty of fish in the sea. And then this is saying that there's only two and they're scary. That's probably a bad connection, but it's an interesting thought. Hey, Maddock, we're doing some weird stuff here. Don't think an actual lorry could take this turn of the rails. Like an actual train? Well, yeah, I've been focused on the fact that the train tracks end here. We should probably talk about how they end here. What's the point of it ending here? It would derail? Yeah, I derailed. That's a good point. And I assume it connects to the one over, like, the other side of this, but it's hard to kind of, like, map that idea out. Maybe the point of it ending there is that it just pretend rail. It's possible it's just pretend rails, but like, I don't know. That's a bit lame. That it doesn't mean anything. I really don't like that quote about like the fish and the darkness impenetrable and all that stuff. Like, it just doesn't sit well with me. After you 100, you could no clip to check that stuff out. I don't know if I could because I'm playing this on a PlayStation, not on my PC. But after I 100% this, I'll be asking, she says, for a boundary break episode. I went the wrong way. Forgot what I was doing. It would mean that the rails, as seen from the outside, are fake, like an artificial environment. I mean, that's a bit strange just because of how well everything else works. Like, the fact that I know this water comes from the top of the waterfall, which
I guess doesn't actually make a lot of sense because where is that water coming from? Like, where's the starting source of all this? I guess that doesn't make a lot of sense.
All right, let's break this down. There's a lot of things to say here. First, let's talk about the Nefari quote very quickly. I do already talk about this in another video. I talk about it in the What episode of Solving the Witness. You can check that out here. But it's very important to talk about how the placement of the audio clips. This audio clip in-game, like we're going to call this like a backstage area here. So in-game is located in an area where you can look across the water and kind of see the sunken ship and things like that. It's the idea of the shipwreck. I think an easy interpretation of this ties to a Bible story that I talk about in the other video where 3 men are given coins and told to return them to the king. 2 men gamble with it and come back with more coins. 1 just buries theirs, and the ones who buried theirs is punished because the coins are metaphors for talent. And if you bury your talent and don't express it to the world and take the risk of exposing yourself, that's not using your coins wisely. I talk about, I don't like the line about the fish. I really still don't. The surface of the sea is gleamed and cannot be reached. The bottom is darkness and impenetrable. And between the two are great fish, which are to be feared. Great interpretation of this is the surface is God in heaven, like you can see it, but you cannot reach it in your form as a fish. Darkness being hell, and the other fish are people there that can dissuade you and influence you in ways that take you away from looking towards the surface, which is your goal, which is God. That is my interpretation of the quote, not my personal interpretation of life, but that is what I believe Nefari is saying here. Again, I'll just repeat this very quickly. Don't know a lot about Nefari. His workings were like compiled off of like lots of notes that he wrote everywhere, and we don't even know who compiled them. So can't do a lot of research in who this person really was. It was the year 970. That was a while ago. The what is, gives the context now, because we hear that in the clip when we find it in the actual game. This is a breaking of, we're reading the quotes and we're having these characters talk. Now, if you go to the wiki for the Witness, it says that this shows that they were trying to get it perfectly and failed because they're so obsessed with getting it perfect that they screw it up and actually include the what in the final version. And this is meant to tie in, again, with fatalism, that if you try so hard to get something perfect and you're so narrow-minded, you miss things. I disagree with this interpretation. My thought here is the rest of this video, or rest of this audio clip, is about how you're trying to make it perfect. You want it to be perfect and how important it is to be perfect. So you're going to do it again and again and again and again. By including that what, you are showing that the best take was that one. And in including the what, that the best take has an error in it. And that it ties directly to this audio clip that we're hearing now in this backstage inside the mountain area. So I think those are the more important connections here. Let's go through everything beat by beat here. I'm going to the store to get you a sandwich or something. She then responds, "You've been standing there for like an hour." Now, that is probably, as player Noah discussed, that's probably being hyperbolic. I've been there for like an hour. It wasn't an actual mention of time. But you could make a very interesting assumption here. Let's say for like an hour, this person stood there and watched her talking. She's just doing this line reading over and over and over again. If this, for some reason, were to have actually taken place on the island, where would that take place? Where on the island would you record things? Probably in the theater in the windmill, right? That's got all the sound canceling things, and probably has the best acoustics as anywhere on the island. So if she's there talking for like an hour and he's standing still watching, that kind of reflects an environmental puzzle we have not done yet, where if you put on the final video that you find, it's like an hour long, and if you leave and watch from a weird angle, you can use the phase of the moon to do an environmental puzzle. And that video is like an hour long. So this is a big leap in logic, and I'm making a lot of assumptions here. But let's say that the area that is the theater was originally the recording studio. And before the screen was put in to play the videos, that was just a window. We might be standing in the exact location that this man was standing when we do that environmental puzzle. Something cool to think about, right? The conversation continues. He says, I don't want to interrupt. And she says, and I don't like sandwiches. Have you ever seen me with a sandwich? Why would you think I'd want a sandwich? This shows a relationship between these two. Sorry for the jump cut. But this shows a relationship between these two that exists where they're very familiar with one another. It reminds me, there is an old Reddit post about a man asks his wife, how do you like your coffee, while he's making her coffee, and she breaks up with him. And his takeaway is, I was trying to do a nice thing. I was trying to make her coffee, and she broke up with me. I don't understand. And her takeaway is, he's asked me how I take my coffee every day for 5 years. The fact that he's not willing to take that and put it in his memory is a reason why I don't want to stay in this relationship, because I'm not important enough. So this idea here of him saying, do you want a sandwich? And her being like, I don't eat sandwiches. What are you talking about? Is kind of reflecting that these two have been together for a while and should know each other well. I don't think this is a true annoyance of you should know me better. I don't eat sandwiches. Also, who doesn't like sandwiches? There's so many variations. You're telling me you don't like, pork roll, egg, and cheese on a bagel, or a cheesesteak, or a BLT, or a meatball sub. There's too many variations here. In any case, I think what this is meant to kind of show is he did not stand there for an hour to ask her about sandwiches. He had other motivations. He just wanted to look at her. He just found her pretty and was staring. This is meant to show that when he's finally called out for staring, he didn't have a reason at hand to say why he was doing that. And moreover, his reason for doing that was probably a little embarrassing. So I would say maybe these two are already in a relationship. Maybe they're close to being in a relationship. But there's definitely a connection between these two characters that is being shown here through this dialogue. The sandwich, I think, overall, is not important. He says sorry. She says I need some sleep. This is kind of to diffuse the situation here. Whoa! Sorry. I had an alarm set that just went off. We're keeping that in the video. She then says, we're all working hard. This shows the passion that they have for the project overall. She then says, I just want to get it right. We're going to be hearing this a lot of times. Even little things matter because it gets so multiplied. One, that's not necessarily true for what the game ends up being. You really only hear it once. Unless the we is them witnessing you. This is very much implying that they watch every person who completes the island. That's the only reason that they would be hearing it many, many times, is because anytime a player character listens to it, they hear it, which would make them, wait for it, the witness. I think that's very important to note. I also want to again note, what's the deal with the underscores? Why can't we use bold or underline or quotes? Underscores are a weird choice. It's good. It's really good. He responds. She says, thanks, yeah, but we've kind of picked up high goalposts. Every little bit matters. Can you get me a coffee? So in the end, she is still comfortable enough to ask him for something, even if it's not a sandwich. Once again, showing the connection between these two characters and that we have a story to uncover between these human beings. Let's play.
Matt, the thing that I was discussing was, I haven't played the challenge today. The whole idea today is trying to figure out if the challenge is an illusion. The idea that this is all a distraction when you're actually supposed to go somewhere else. Like, for existence, in this metaphor, the challenge is, say, a voyage. Those who voyage gain nothing. You need to risk not completing this and go elsewhere. So I will show you this, because this is the one discovery we've made today, besides that audio clip, of course. One, I wanted to see if this actually spins, because I never really look at it. It does spin. Okay. So what is this? Huh, these change. Are they doing it on the beat? They are. And now it's faster. The first one changes. Okay. One dot here, and then this is going to go through its cycle. Now there's 2 dots here. Now it's going to go through the cycle. Now there's 3 dots here. This is solvable. That is solvable. This is solvable. Yeah, they're no longer not solvable puzzles. I could solve this. But the fact that this is tuned to the music. Okay, ready? All yellow. This one changes. 3. This is a clock. Interesting. Here's another thought that's going to drive everyone crazy. These are no longer unsolvable puzzles, right? Switch to 4. This is definitely not an unsolvable puzzle, right? Does that mean that, because I'm guessing this means 4, right? Does this mean that if I see that puzzle elsewhere, it means 4? Not unsolvable. I could totally solve that one. I could solve this one, no problem. I could solve this one, no problem. Probably solve this in multiple ways. No. Be a little bit. It's a little bit harder to solve in my brain. This one has some unsolvable. No, I think I can solve all these. Because they never appear here. They appeared in the middle, I would say. These are sometimes unsolvable. Interesting. The clock kind of pauses here because there's no music playing. There's 4, 5. So this is 6. This would be solved by just doing this. I thought these puzzles were unsolvable, but they're not. They're all doable. The only thing that's making them unsolvable is the fact that I can't click here. Is there a way to use the environment to finish off those dots? To make them gray? By putting them off screen? Use the white of the border? That would have been fun. Oh, do they? They do. Are they different? No, they're the same. Because I used to think these were unsolvable, like the whole gimmick of them was that they were actually impossible, but none of these are impossible. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now it's going a little bit faster. That's cool. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this should be the end.
I knew this day would come where I took the time to just stare at the timer here. I didn't expect it to be as crazy as it ends up being. Because this is the first time I ever really took the time to look at what's going on, and it's pretty interesting. So, the time is currently maxed out in this current freeze frame at what we would call 997. The first digit in the hundreds column, we'll say, is a 9. The second digit is a 9. And the last digit is a 7. That is how we would interpret this as numbers. So why is it maxed out at 997? The idea here is if we had one more moment, we would actually need another panel, which is sort of true. So let's really break this down. So the first thing that we're going to call the hundreds column for now, that's the one with the Tetris pieces. There are a total of 9 blocks. So that's why that represents a 9. Anytime one of these goes through, if you count the pieces of the Tetris blocks, that's the number it is on. In the next one, in the 10 space, it's blue versus yellow, or black versus white. It's one of those puzzles. If it is entirely blue, it's a 0. If it's entirely yellow, it's a 9. The number of yellows is the digit for that one. Then let's look at the ones column. Every one of the yellow dots that you would have to like draw over is a digit. If it's completely blank, it is a 0. If it's every dot you count, it's a digit up. But it only goes up to 7, even though you could clearly make it go up to 8. So that means that the ones digit, the one with the walkover dots, is in base 8. The one in the tens column is in base 10. And the one in the hundreds column is also in base 10. Maybe. Because here's the thing. You could add way more Tetris blocks to that one. So there's no real evidence that this would roll over and you would need a 1000th column if you had one more panel go up. You could just add more Tetris blocks. And all the Tetris pieces that appear during the timer never go past 4. They're like legit Tetris pieces. We never get anything that's like 5 blocks or 6 blocks long. Which means that technically that panel could be in base 36. I bring that up as a possibility, but that's not what I think is going on here. But it's very important that you understand it's base 10, base 10, base 8. So the digit being shown here, I'm calling 997. But that is not what it would be mathematically. The sequence that it goes through of how many different panels are shown before it shuts off is actually 792. So it's not 997, it's 792. So it goes through 792 sequences before it goes out. That's how many ticks there are, not how many seconds there are, because every time the panels change and tick over to the next one, it's not because a second went by, it's because a beat in the music happened. It's not a standard like metronome, like click, 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 staying to the same beat the whole time and staying consistent. It speeds up and even freezes at some points along with the music. So it's not a metronome. Think of it as a conductor. The conductor, as it gets faster, has more ticks. This also explains why that one panel that is the walkover dots that we are saying is in the 1 columns is in base 8, because it is music, and music is often counted in 8s. So what is actually being displayed here is the walkover puzzles, the dot puzzles. Those are showing which beat we are on. The Tetris and the black and white separation puzzles are telling you how many measures have gone by. We will go through 100 measures. That is what is being said here. So that is how the timer works. The real time is about 6.5 minutes. If the timer was working on seconds, the number of seconds that are actually being displayed would be much higher. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. That is how the timer works. The timer is counting beats and counting measures of 8. That is what is being explained. Now, I then pitch out a theory. The theory is we now know that these 3 types of puzzles can relate to numbers. Should I look for the exact puzzle that is used to represent a 1, a 2, and 3 in the game and assign that number to it? Because when the puzzle is stopped, it's an unsolvable puzzle. But when the timer is going, they are solvable puzzles. So in theory, we could find the exact puzzle that is used for a number and find it somewhere in the world. Except not really, because they're also randomized. What works as a 1 for one play of the challenge will not be 1 again. So it is actually just the rule and not the exact panel that represents these numbers. When a walkover dot panel is trying to display a 1, that dot will appear in various different places. This is kind of good and bad because that means technically using the information we have here, applying it to all the rules in a way, we could then go around and apply a number to every puzzle on the island. I don't think we should do that, because then what do you do with that information? However, there is one theory I am kind of interested in, because it's a thing that I've said over and over and over and over again. Both timers, the one that you see right in front of the record player and the one that we're currently staring at here, has the same broken frame under the second digit. Something that I've brought out many, many times is, we are reusing this exact framing sequence. So somewhere on the island, we could take any time we see this broken frame and be like, okay, the first two numbers are in base 10, the second one, or the third panel is in base 8. We can come up with numbers here. Is there a spot on the island that is set up exactly like this, where the first panel is a Tetris, the second panel is a black and white separation, and the third panel is a walkover dot puzzle? I don't know. I don't think so. Like, there's very different rules and they're spread out here. It's something we could do. I don't know what we would do with that number. We could take that information to find the exact beat in the music we are in Return of the Mountain King. I'm not going to do that. You guys can do it if you want. But it is a thought I had.
Now they're unsolved. Interesting. And it looks like for it to represent it only went up to. Hold on, let me look at the puzzles again. Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, how does it represent? So that's the 0 on each of the panels, right? What's currently displayed does not appear in the counter, because all the panels in the counter were solvable. So this is something completely different that are not numbers. Perhaps letters. Perhaps this is the seed of the challenge that I'm doing. Just to throw that out there. An open mouth. All right, so I'm going to just see something real quick because I'm testing something. Zero. That's 0. I'm looking at this panel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoop. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1. Oh, because it's music, so it should be 8 counts. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. Okay. So this switches on 8 to make this go up by 1. This is 10. This goes up to 10. This goes up to 9. Well, this has a 0, and then this has a 0. Interesting. Anyway, here was the big revelation we had. Why do you think this is true, Maddock? Yeah, here's more of the tracks. The idea that that leads to the other side of the tracks doesn't really make sense in my brain in terms of mapping this out. Where do you get 5? It was definitely 8. There was 8 possible digits, and then there were 10 digits for the first one because it started on 0. The first spot has 10 possible digits because 0 through 9. The second one has 0 through 9, and then the third one had 8. Yeah, because there's a speaker here. And it gets a little louder up here. Why? Why can we hear the music here? Brock, calm down. You can't hear it over here, though. But you can hear it here. I'm going to run over to this area just because we haven't done that yet. Because perhaps you can hear the music in the starting area. I think it's because I'm near the speaker. And I'm just seeing if there's another speaker. I'm really noticing this symbol, which I have not.
Really interesting placement of that lotus, eh? I wonder if that will come up later in this Let's Play, huh? I wonder if that could have any meaning,
Really been paying attention too much this whole time. God, I haven't been here in so long. Yeah, it does look like a lotus. Making a mad sprint towards Symmetry Island right now. In the boathouse. It wouldn't surprise me if there was a speaker in the boathouse. I also kind of wanted to go look at the Braid Castle. Yeah, it's been so long. Koi fish. Tree of Many Faces. No, I can't make that go down. Just a thought. No. All right. You know, the answer that it does not actually care about your z-axis, that's kind of a good answer. I want to make it to the lake, too. Yes, look at the lake. Look at all my open flowers. Still missing that one. Look at that. Still missing an audio clip. Missing that audio clip too. And a Dorito. Wait, I forget. I think grayed out means I got it. Yes, I did figure out the lake being a map. Hello. Who are you?
So let's talk about the lady in the water. I don't understand the lady in the water. And I did some research, and nobody does. I can't find any concrete evidence of when she pops out of the water, what triggers that. Some people are saying that she pops out when you go into the mountain for the first time. But there's also two different versions of the statue, and they change at some point. Somebody has no-clipped and found, like, there's another version of this statue hiding underneath the lake, and then at some point they replace each other. But nobody seems to know exactly what that is. I think also the comparison of this woman and the woman on the mountain, that seems like a very fair comparison, that perhaps they're the same woman. I don't see a flower in her hair, but she's very far away in the middle of a lake, and I don't want to get my shoes wet. So what is your theory on the lady in the lake?
Looks like she's holding a laser box. Interesting. Quite interesting. I don't remember. I don't think so. Is she this woman? She wasn't? Alright, cool. The lady in the water. M. Night Shyamalan. The music's got to be done by now, right? Yeah. Very interesting. So we discovered a sound clip today, which is good. And, I mean, this could just be a fix for the fact that it doesn't care about your Z-axis. But is that really what I'm under? Am I under the theater? I guess so. Well, here's a question. Ugh, look at that grossness. That's not the way. This is the way. Okay. Ooh. That's creepy.
The people who made change happen were the people who had
No idea what's gonna be here, but clearly something's gonna be here.
today.
Just looking at his eyes through the steps creeped me out.
People who have that knowledge are the scientists.
Yeah, I ran the movie in the idea that maybe I'd hear that from down here. I do hear it muffled. Yeah, I guess it makes sense that, like, right above us is the town. Yeah, I guess it does make sense. Alright, well, we tried something new today. I find it suspicious. I find it really... No. I find it really suspicious that you can hear the music in the town. I also think the idea of the spinning record tying it to the spinning of the windmill makes sense to me. I think that there's a possibility that that's important. But I definitely wanted to try the theory that you were supposed to go do something else. That this was all a distraction. Because I'm worried that once I solve this, I won't be able to do that. So that was just a theory that I wanted to kind of investigate. So I know you guys are real hyped for me to defeat the challenge. I didn't even try it today. But I'm not gonna. This is different than what it was before. Yeah, unsolvable. The idea of that being the seed is another thing that I think is very possible. There's something about the game and fairness in general. Not sure if it's spoilery. I guess not. I mean, as we discussed last time that we tried to play this, like, this is expecting me to complete it without thinking, basically. It has to become instinctual for me to get through this in time. Because what I'm assuming are the last two puzzles, because I don't know, the dot symmetry and the spiral black and white puzzle, they're a lot. So, like, I'm currently at the point where I feel like I'm skilled up into that point, and then I'm going to have to get lucky. I mean, your suspicion that solving this might lock you out of something else. Ooh. That's worrisome. So I do have to go, but maybe next time we all meet up for solving the witness, we'll have a discussion on whether I should be attempting the challenge or finishing up environmental puzzles first. We'll see. But I definitely want to solve this bad boy. Plus I got multiple save files, so everything will be fine. Right?
Woo! And that's going to do it for this episode of Solving the Witness. Thank you so much for joining me. Here are this episode's takeaways. One, we had the sandwich audio. You can talk to me about the actual quote that Nefari says, but I think we're focused more on the relationship between these two characters and the little things that are being revealed just in these short dialogue. Like, we are able to pull out from this that he kind of likes her. They are very familiar with one another. They're working really hard and they're under a lot of pressure, and they have a lot of passion for this project. We figure that out just from a few sentences, and we dig a little bit deeper from what they say. The second takeaway is the timer and how the timer works. I think it's very easy to just look at it mechanically and say the dot puzzle is counting beats, the other two panels are counting measures. Think that is the easy solution here. Are we supposed to take those as numbers and then apply them elsewhere? I think it's a bit of a stretch, but that's what we do on the show. We can talk about the Lotus being on that gate, but we all know that that's a later thing, and I won't spoil it. And finally, the lady in the water. What do you think she's doing there? What does it mean? Can we light that lantern that's in her hands? I didn't see if we could or not. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you to all the new people that are joining us for this journey. We're going to keep on plowing, so be sure to subscribe right here to Plus 2 Comedy Gaming. We broke over 700 recently. Thank you so much. And this way you'll get a notification next time we try to solve the witness.